Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting up white fur. And this video has come about because I was painting up Ghost from the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game, and I wanted to try out a new technique for painting up white, especially white fur. And I was really happy that I managed to catch this on camera so I can show you guys. It's not too hard to do either, which is another great thing. I wanted to come up with a better way of painting white fur than what I usually do, and I'm pretty happy with how this came out. So I wanted to do this video to show you guys, and hopefully this will be helpful for you and you'll be able to use it in painting up white fur in the future. So let's get into that video to see how it came out. Okay, so as you can see, we've got Ghost here, and what I've done is I've given him a Zenithal Prime, which is starting off with the primer black and then going over white with above. And I went pretty hard with the white with above because, of course, this is Ghost, he's a white dog. So what I did was I used this basically as to keep this in mind of where the shadows and that would be as I was painting the miniature up. I don't end up by using too much of this with the way I came up with it, but with how I usually paint, I want to keep an eye on how I was making sure that the shadows and that would settle. But as you can see here, I'm starting off with deck tan, and this is sort of an off-white color, a very sort of warm white color, sort of creamy beige is in there as well, and this is what you want to be using for the start of your fur. So a nice very deep color. You don't want to go straight with white or an off-white, you want to go something a little bit deeper than that. I find deck tan is the best way. Then once I've given them a complete coat in the white, you can see now that I'm going to be using a contrast paint, and this is apothecary white, and this is sort of a grey bluish white color, very interesting color. And you can see here immediately when you place it on, it gives everything sort of a grey blue tint, but I want to be giving the entire miniature a complete coat in this. So this is great for the shadows of our fur is basically what I'm going to be doing with this, and I'm going to be paying more attention to applying the contrast paint into those areas where our Zenithal Highlight Prime showed that we had a lot more shadow, so into those bits inside the nicely sculpted fur detail, stuff like that, giving it a good overall coat and wiping it away on sort of the top surfaces but keeping it into the shadows, just keeping a good control over the whole thing. Then as you can see, it's given a great starting point for our model, and what we're going to do now is come back in with our deck tan, and I'm just going to be dry brushing over top of this very lightly. This is of course with our deck tan color to bring it back up a little bit, but keeping in those recesses where that apothecary white was. And if you need help with the dry brushing here, I have a video on dry brushing of where I found out that I can improve my dry brushing skills by having a dry palette. If you want to find out more about that, you can check out my video on dry brushing and my new way of doing that. But as you can see, I'm just aiming for those top areas and avoiding the shadowed parts and going in nice circled motions so we're not getting any straight streaks onto the model. Then once we have that complete, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with ivory, and this is going to be the high point of our model. So really doing the exact same thing we did with our deck tan color in the previous step, but this time we are focusing very much on the top ends of the piece as well, and really trying to get those high points of our highlight. As well as that, I want to make sure that we want to be picking up those other areas, so just keeping a very light amount. Now this may look like I'm doing nothing on the model, but it's a very light pressure, and I'm just continuously going over it very slowly, just slowly building up that paint so we're not getting into that white chalkiness, because as you know, with dry brushing white you can very easily get that chalkiness. But with the way I do dry brushing now, I don't seem to get that, and I'm very pleased with that, and it's just a matter of building up those layers of the dry brushing white stage. And then as you can see, our fur has come out really great, and what I'm doing is I'm going to be painting up the rest of Ghost here. As you can see, now there was one other step I actually forgot to film. I thought I caught it on camera, but I didn't, and that was I just picked out the very highest points of the highlights, basically concentrating on the face or the very tips with an actual white there, or a very higher color than our ivory, and just picking out the areas like how you would on the face of a ordinary miniature, which is sort of like the bridge of the nose, the eyebrows, and the very ends of the tuft, to just bring it up that extra point. I thought I'd caught it on camera, but unfortunately I didn't. But with that, that is basically how the fur came out. But let's finish off Ghost here. Okay, so now to finish out Ghost, what I'm going to be doing is his nice red eyes, and I'm using dragon red for this. It's a nice bright red, to really help pierce out against that white fur that we've done. And as you can see, it gives us a lot of depth in our fur as well. And really trying to complete Ghost here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly complete Ghost, and then we'll have a bit of a recap at the end and see how it came out with those glamour shots. So let's get on with doing the other parts of the miniature, which is basically the base. So let's quickly go through that. So also with Ghost here, he's standing on a nice tactical rock, and where would a army-based miniature, wargaming miniature be without a nice tactical rock? And I think Ghost deserves a tactical rock, so we want to give that a good overall color here, or just a nice grey, just nice and simple, giving it a good overall coat. Then once we have that tactical rock painted up, what we're going to do now is I'm going to come in with some dark charred brown for this. Now, if this is seeming familiar, it's actually because I've done a video on how I do a winter style base before, and this is what I use to base all of my Night's Watch / Free Folk miniatures in their basing scheme. So if you want to see that, I'll put a video up in the corner if you want to see how I paint a winter base. To give you a good idea, it goes in a little bit more detail than what I'm doing here, because I'm just trying to finish off Ghost and make him tie in with the rest of my army, but giving a good overall colour with our deep brown here. And of course we want to give everything a wash, except for we want to really make sure we don't get Ghost in this, so bit of brush control here as well. We want to give it a good overall coverage with our tactical rock and our ground to tie them all together. Since this is also just used from stones on my driveway here, all just placed onto the miniature itself, so I've got a good overall texture, and it's really going to take full effect of that wash, so giving it a nice good coverage. Then once we have that completely dry, it's time for some tufts, and I'm going to be using some nice frozen tufts by Army Painter here, which, like I said, I've done before, and this is to match in with my scheme for my Night's Watch army. So nice good old tufts. I'm going to give Ghost a couple of tufts here, give him something to really fill out that scene, and of course we want to place them on here. Now I do end up by actually super gluing these on here too. One problem I have, especially with the Army Painter tufts, is the stickiness they have on the bottom can sometimes be a little hit or miss, so putting a dab of super glue or PVA glue will really help stick them down there. And then once we have those tufts on here, we need to complete our winter scene, and that is to add snow. And I'm going to be using some Battlefield Basing Warlord Games snow effect here, and this is their snow range, and I really love their snow flocking here. It's my favorite snow product to use. I like it a bit more than Valhalla and Blizzard and stuff like that for freshly fallen snow. It looks great, and when you pile it up there, it really does give the effect off like real fresh powdered snow. But anyway, let's actually take some looks at the glamour shots, and let's have a recap of painting up our white fur. And there you have it. We have Ghost completed from the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures range. But as you can see, what the main point of the video was here is to see how our white fur came out. And you can see that with only a few steps, it didn't take many steps at all, we've got a realistic looking fur, and we've got some nice sort of greyish blue shadows in there as well, while still coming off as white in the actual overall piece. So like I said, I was just painting this up. I wanted to give a new paint scheme a try for painting out white fur, because I didn't want to paint it up like how I usually do, which is apply a black wash and stuff over it, which ends up with a lot of like staining effects, and can be a little bit hard, and it doesn't quite read as a nice interesting white fur. And I think adding that apothecary white and starting off with a warm white as our base tone really does help give that overall effect with the dry brushing over top. Really does sell a white miniature, and I'm really happy with it. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I was really happy that I managed to catch it on video, because I thought, oh, I'll just film it just in case and do here. I was just painting it off to the side after painting up Jon Snow, but I'm really happy I did, so I could show this with you, and hopefully this will give you some added use in painting up white fur in the future. So with all that, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.